Hi, my name is Ryan Keating, and I'm here to present the Tyson TaunTaun data mining project. You will also be hearing from Sam Frolick, Sam Kazari, and Mary Steiner throughout this project to hear the various aspects that they have also attributed to. To start things off, I wanted to say, what was our data? Our data was a procurement ledger from Tyson Foods. What we're going to be doing with that is trying to dive into various aspects and business questions that we can learn from the data to try improving processes and decisions for Tyson Foods. These various aspects would be increasing discount rates by vendors, predicting future procurement spend, identifying which vendors already give us the best discounts, and how can we improve our PO process so that way we could have a better control environment over the procurement ledger. So that will lead us into the very first business question that we had, and that was, how do we increase discounts by vendors through total spend? The way that we found was most beneficial was we basically would just group in the total spend by vendor and be able to present that total dollar amount to the vendor and say, we spend X amount of dollars with you for a period of time. So we would expect a certain discount rate. This is kind of a way to be able to improve our discount rates and lower expense costs for us, so that way we could drive a higher profit.
The next area that we were asked to look at was supplier discounts. The business question we were trying to answer was, how do we predict and select suppliers that will provide the greatest discounts? As a large manufacturer, Tyson purchases large volumes of various raw materials to produce its products, and their suppliers will often provide discounts for various reasons to earn a piece of this business. They will provide discounts for incentives, such as volume discounts if Tyson purchases above minimum quantity thresholds, or for payment term discounts if Tyson pays their invoice quicker, such as 10% if they pay within 10 days. The goal for the Tyson purchasing department is to maximize these discount savings without compromising on quality or risking supply disruptions. So we looked at the cooking ingredients category for FY18, which is one of the largest categories of spending that Tyson incurs for direct manufacture of products. We explored the data and uncovered the fact that over 15% of the supplier base provided some form of discounts. However, less than 1% of our total cooking ingredient expenditures were actually discounted. We discovered that most of the spend was accumulated by most of the suppliers with lower discount rates, while the suppliers with higher discount rates were often not awarded as much of the spend volume. The domain experts told us how incumbent suppliers were usually awarded the most spend volume, and because of their tenure, they are usually less likely to provide discounts. They also explained that many of the cooking ingredients are commodities that are purchased based on market pricing. Armed with these new facts about the cooking ingredients and their suppliers, we utilized the latest in decision mining techniques to build a decision tree model that predicts which suppliers will provide the greatest discounts, allowing our category managers to select and contract with these new suppliers. The model identified two significant factors that accurately predicted supplier discounts, and they were based on the supplier's risk failure rating and their payment terms. As it turns out, suppliers with medium risk failure ratings were more inclined to provide discounts to earn a greater portion of the sales, while suppliers with lower risk failure ratings had less reason to incentivize those sales. We saw similar results when it comes to payment terms, that steady long-term suppliers were less incentivized to provide discounts for faster payments, while lower volume suppliers would often provide at least a 2% discount if the invoice was paid within 10 days. Our recommendation for this is for two courses of action. First, all new contracts should be awarded to suppliers with at least a minimum risk failure rating and allow discounts for early payment of invoices. Second, all awarded volume to the incumbent supplier should be evaluated for reevaluation and reallocation to the 15% of our existing suppliers who currently do provide discounts. This will increase our negotiating power, and if we can negotiate a mere 1% increase of discount with all incumbent suppliers given our current volumes, Tyson will realize over 120% increase in discount savings over the course of the next year. So let's get cooking.
After significant review of Tyson's purchasing practices, we have made the following observations. $200 million, or about a quarter of total purchases, are made off PO. And the largest department with purchases off PO is the Sanitation Services Department. The Sanitation Services Department also makes a significant amount of purchases on PO. The team's predictive model revealed that purchases from suppliers in Tennessee and Wisconsin are likely to be made off PO. We also discovered that in addition to the Sanitation Services Department, operator, distributors and brokers, broadcast TV advertising, computer maintenance, and consulting department purchases are likely to be made off PO. Our goal with this analysis was to find the top characteristics of purchases made off PO in order to predict purchasing patterns. Our call to action is to first focus on future purchases that will be made with the previous state and department characteristics in order to transition them all at once. Next will be to address any inconsistencies with departments or suppliers that have mixed purchasing history made on and off PO. It appears that these departments and suppliers are arbitrarily invoiced on and off PO. We suggest implementing a software update or executing a company-wide notification to immediately transition these future orders to be made on PO, since the capability is already there. Finally, once these steps have been executed, it should be much easier to start transitioning all future purchases to be made on PO.
In this section, we'll be discussing Tyson Foods procurement spending. Our goal during this analysis was to be able to predict future procurement spending, specifically for our top spenders by quarter. The benefits of this analysis includes budget evaluation and budget allocation. If we can predict spending, we'll know how much budget needs to be set aside for allocation to our top spenders by quarter. We'll also be able to evaluate those budgets to determine whether it needs to be changed due to other business factors. For the fiscal years of 2017 and 2018, Tyson Foods spent $8.7 billion total on procurement, with $4.3 billion spent in 2017 and $4.4 billion spent in 2018. That procurement spending is spread across 31 Level 1 departments, which represent different areas of the business. We found that the top two spenders were capital and cooking ingredients and made up approximately 34% of total procurement spending over the 2017 to 2018 timeframe. Over that timeframe, capital averaged $158 million in procurement spending per quarter. Examples of capital spending include purchases of plant equipment and items for plant and building improvements for Tyson Food properties. Cooking ingredients averaged $207 million in procurement spending per quarter and include purchases for goods such as flour, cooking oil, and spice seasoning, to give a few examples. After running several data mining techniques, we found that the best model result obtained for quarterly prediction was an average accuracy of $15 million from the actual spend. That is 8% of the average quarterly spend for cooking ingredients and 10% of the average quarterly spend for capital. The factors that had the most influence were average quantity and spend per invoice, and quarterly total suppliers, quantity, and purchases. We were able to apply the model to the cooking ingredients department using numbers from 2017 and 2018 to show its predictive power. We can see that the predicted future spend for cooking ingredients would be $209 million in quarter 1, $206 million in quarter 2, $206 million in quarter 3, and $208 million in quarter 4. Keep in mind the average 8% accuracy for cooking ingredients. Overall, our goal was to be able to predict future quarterly spending, specifically for capital and cooking ingredients. Our results show that we would be able to predict 8 to 10% from actual spend on average. Our takeaways is that this model has reasonable accuracy for predicting quarterly spend for capital and cooking ingredients, but we do think there's room for improvement. As we gather more procurement spending data in the years to come, we will be able to apply it to our model to generate an even better result in the future.